My sister handed me a $12,800 invoice demanding I pay for her kids' tuition, gadgets, and camp. I refused. A week before Thanksgiving, I overheard her telling Mom, "After dinner, he pays for my kids." Mom agreed. So I changed everything. On November 23rd, she texted, "Where are you?" I replied, "Don't wait for me, or the catering." Asterisk. You know that gut-wrenching moment when you realize you've been played, when a seemingly innocent family gathering is actually a meticulously planned ambush. That's exactly what happened to me, Ryan, a quiet bookkeeper who just wanted a peaceful Thanksgiving, only to discover I was the main course. I'm 34, the quintessential middle kid, always the default driver, the family IT desk, the one who keeps spare batteries in his glove compartment and a PDF scanner on his phone. I even have a little notebook where I meticulously track what I've loaned out, and when someone promised to pay me back Friday for sure. I love tidy lines, receipts that match, and coffee that's gone cold because I've lost myself in spreadsheets. My older sister, Ava, she's the golden one. Marketing guru, big infectious laugh, hair that actually behaves. Then there's Nate, my younger brother, charming in a way that always seems to land him on someone's couch. And our parents? They orbit Ava like she's the only warm star in their universe. Her achievements get standing ovations. Mine get a polite nod. Nate? Oh, he's just finding himself. I never complained. I was the one keeping the family group chat organized, handling calendars and birthdays. I took all the photos at events because no one else ever remembered. I fixed printers, sent Venmo payments, and I just showed up. This year, I'd even carefully written, "Thanksgiving, November 23rd, on a sticky note, and slapped it on my fridge. My plan was simple. Drive to my parents' place, bring the Brussels sprouts, help my dad wrestle with the folding table, endure the polite but pointed remarks about my single life, then drive home early. Keep the peace. Don't start anything. Easy. Then, the Sunday before Thanksgiving, I swung by my parents' house to drop off a spare cooler. Their back door always sticks. You have to lift and push at just the right angle. I lifted, I pushed, and I was halfway inside when I heard voices. My mom's whisper, sharp, from the kitchen, and Ava's bright, utterly confident tone. "I have a plan," Ava said, and I swear I could hear her smile through her words. "After dinner, he pays for my kids. Easy. We have the invoice. Tuition, gadgets, camp, the whole thing. I'll just slide it over with dessert." "How much is it?" my mom asked, her voice hushed. "Only $12,800 for the semester," Ava chirped. "It's not even a full year." My mom made that approving hum, the one she saved exclusively for Ava. "There are no other kids in this family," she declared, almost like a rehearsed slogan. "We all pitch in. He'll do the right thing." Something inside my chest went absolutely still. I hadn't moved. I stood there by the laundry room, clutching that plastic cooler, staring at a stack of folded dish towels. I timed my breathing with the relentless ticking of the clock on the wall, as if I could somehow sink into a calmer state, melt into the floorboards. Then Ava added, "He won't say no in front of everyone." And my mom's chilling reply, "He never does." My heart pounded like a drum against my ribs. I quietly set the cooler down, backed out through the sticky door, and stood on the porch until my heartbeat slowed to something resembling normal. On the drive home, my phone buzzed. A text from Ava. "Heads up. I'll need your card after dessert. It's simpler if you just do it. Okay. Love you." 2 minutes later, the invoice PDF arrived. Subject line, "Pay for my kids, too." I didn't respond. I just stared at the angry red numbers on my dashboard, at the gas light that flickered at the exact same point every week. And I thought about that notebook in my glove compartment, filled with neat lines of dates and names, and how those lines, those debts, never seemed to end. That was it. That was the first trigger. I didn't act yet. I just put my phone face down on the passenger seat, drove home in absolute silence, and made a turkey sandwich I couldn't even taste. I sat at my kitchen table, listening to the fridge hum, staring at a crayon drawing my nephew had given me last year. 3 stick people and a son with too many lines. He'd scrawled, "Uncle Rin, close enough." I tried to tell myself not to overreact. Asterisk, it's just talk, Ryan. It's just Ava being Ava. It's just mom doing the mom thing. Asterisk, I brushed my teeth, set my alarm, and tried to sleep. I didn't. This whole thing, it didn't start with a $12,800 invoice. It started years ago, with much smaller numbers, and the way everyone would smile when I pulled out my card. When Ava had her first baby, I covered the hospital parking because we forgot cash. When the second came, I paid the doula deposit because we'll pay you Friday. Friday turned into next Friday, and then into a very sweet thank you card with a gift card to a cafe that had closed in 2018. Oops, Ava had laughed, snatching the envelope from my hand. "You should have used it." I paid Nate's traffic ticket because he swore it would ruin his insurance forever. I paid my parents' electric bill when there was a mix-up with autopay. I even bought the extra foldable chairs we used last Thanksgiving because the old ones squeaked, and my mom said the squeak hurt her head. No one asked in so many words. I volunteered. I like being useful. I like the feeling of a problem simply being over. That's on me, I know. The money story in our family was painfully simple. Ava had expensive emergencies. Nate had urgent opportunities. My parents had constant surprises. And I had stability. My mom loved to say stable, like it was a synonym for endless. She'd say, "We're so proud of how you support each other. That's what family does." And in the same breath, she'd text me screenshots of Ava's Amazon cart with, "Can you grab these?" She'd caption it, "We're not keeping score." But they were. In invisible ink. I started keeping a light score in my notebook. Not out of spite, but out of sanity. January 12th. Ava, $180 field trip fund plus new cleats. March 3rd. Nate, $400 deposit for room he didn't get. April 29th. Parents, $1,260 plumber. Lines, dates, notes like promised Friday, and a small checkmark when the money came back. There weren't many checkmarks. Ava's kids went to a private school that sent glossy magazines with pictures of kids in blazers holding violins. She called it the investment. She also used investment for new phones, summer camps with glossy brochures, and a coding kit that cost more than my first laptop. Her husband, Eric, was perfectly nice until money entered the conversation. Then he'd get quiet and suddenly check his watch. They weren't cartoon villains. They were just used to the world rearranging itself to make their choices look smart. A year ago, Ava sent an email invoice labeled emergency tuition gap, $3,600. "Just cover it and I'll sort it with Dad," she wrote. My dad never sorted anything except nuts and bolts into coffee cans in the garage. I paid it. I told myself it was the last time. Then came STEM kits. Only $799. Ryan, don't be cheap. They're curious. And fall trip to DC. Just the deposit, $1,500 now. They'll fundraise later. And then, the absolute kicker. Scholarship application fee. A fee to apply for a scholarship. That one killed me. I don't have kids. My guesses about future costs live in a tiny tab named Someday, but I'm not blind. Rent is up. Milk is up. The dentist feels like a luxury item. My car needed new tires. That tooth that buzz sometimes. It needed a crown soon. I budgeted with the quiet panic of someone who knows 3 bad months could erase 10 good ones. I had said no. Sometimes. Once, she handed me a physical invoice at my nephew's birthday party, like a party favor. Gadgets, she'd explained. They need them for school. I remember saying, they don't need 2 iPads and new headphones for kindergarten. She'd shot back. It's for their brain development. My mom, who was cutting cake, chimed in, "Don't stifle them, Ryan." I pointed out, "They have more devices than I do." Ava retorted, "Maybe that's your problem." Eric laughed and called me old school. My dad just turned up the music. When I pushed back, my mother went full strategist. "There are no other kids in this family," she'd say, which always meant every expense was everyone's. "We don't separate. We all do our part." The part assignments, however, were mysterious and fixed. Ava's part was selecting nice things. Nate's part was making everyone laugh. My part was paying for the nice things and listening to the jokes. There was the year my parents forgot to save for property taxes, and I floated it because the penalty scared them. There was the month Nate's landlord threatened eviction, and I just spotted him the rent because it's complicated. There were the holidays I bought half the food because the word catering made my mom feel like a queen. She called it light catering. There was nothing light about the bill. I told myself the same sentence every single time. It's family, and I can afford it. Here's the part one don't like admitting. Being the rescuer feels good. Until it doesn't. It made me feel capable. It turned noise into quiet. But quiet bought with resentment isn't real quiet. It's holding your breath until the room calms down. You still suffocate. So when I heard Ava tell my mother, "I have a plan. After dinner, he pays," something that had been wobbling inside me finally just set down. Not rage. Not yet. Just an internal asterisk no. Not allowed. Not again. Asterisk I didn't text back. I didn't forward the invoice to some imaginary Lena for backup. There was no Lena. It was just me. I didn't call my grandma for backup. I made a bowl of cereal at 11 p.m. and ate it standing up. And I practiced the words, "I can't do that," in my kitchen until my cat walked in, sat down, and stared at me like I was finally making a good point. I slept badly. Every time I drifted off, I heard my mom say, "There are no other kids," and I pictured that table with a slice of pie, a piece of paper, and all eyes turning to me. In the morning, I put the invoice on my desk and stared at the line items. Tuition, $8,400. Gadgets, $2,100. Camp deposit plus gear, $2,300. Total due, $12,800. Due date, ASAP before Thanksgiving to avoid late fees. Ava had even added a note. "You can put it on your rewards card." I closed the PDF, walked to the mirror, and said out loud, "No." It sounded small. Then I said it again and again until it sounded like a complete sentence. Thanksgiving planning is a ritual in our family. My mom makes the list. Ava adds expensive touches. Nate promises ice and forgets it. I fill the gaps. This year, my mom wanted light catering for the turkey and all the sides because the oven hates me. She told me the menu like she was reading poetry. Herb turkey, truffled potatoes, glazed carrots, mac and cheese for the kids, 3 pies. "We'll pick up rolls," she added. as if that made the rest simple. Who's paying? I asked, even though I knew the answer. Don't start, Ryan, she sighed. We're all pitching in. It'll be under 1,000. That's reasonable. I pictured the money I'd already sent this month. $300 to Nate for bridge until Tuesday. $210 for my parents' prescription copay because the card didn't work. And the recurring $70 internet bill I paid because you set it up, sweetie. It's easier if you just keep it. I could feel that little buzzing tooth. I can't do catering this year, I said, surprised by my own voice. It didn't wobble. I'll bring a dessert. My mom let out a noise like I'd just dropped a whole tray of cookies. Ava's kids won't eat Brussels sprouts. They'll eat what everyone eats, I said, my voice still steady. She made another noise, a huff of disbelief. Ava's handling the important part, she said, clearly referring to the invoice. Don't be difficult. I didn't answer. I'll be there at 2, I said, and then I hung up. I sat there, looking at my wall clock. It ticked, loud as an ankle tapping impatiently on a chair. I opened my email, looked at the invoice one more time, and felt a wave of something hot. Then it cooled. Clarity, I realized, is a temperature drop. 2 days before Thanksgiving, Ava texted again. Hey, send the card details so I can pre-run it with the school and camp. Saves time Thursday. I typed no. She sent back 12 question marks and a voice note that started with a laugh and slid into, Are you serious, Ryan? Don't make this weird. It's for the boys. You're good with money. You literally love budgets. Just do the thing. I called her. I'm not paying your invoice, I said. Not a cent. She made a sound like she dropped her phone into a sink. Excuse me. I'm not paying, I repeated. I won't be discussing it at dinner or after dinner. And if you bring it up, I'll say no in front of everyone. You're punishing my kids, she wailed. I'm not punishing anyone, I said. I'm ending a pattern. I can't keep funding your choices. I'm not a second parent to your kids. Mom said. I heard what Mom said. I cut in. There are no other kids in this family. That's not true. There are your kids. There are 8 someday kids. There are hypothetical future kids. There are adults who made decisions, and then there is me. I'm allowed to be a separate person. She went quiet then. Wow. On Thanksgiving week. You're heartless. I'm boundary full, I said, and immediately regretted the phrasing but not the meaning. She hung up. That night, my mom called with the tone she reserved for doctor appointments. Ava tells me you're being difficult. I'm saying no, I corrected her. She launched into the speech. We raised you. We did without. We never asked. You asked, I interrupted. You ask all the time. You just don't call it that. She went silent long enough for it to feel like a tiny victory. Then she tried another angle. Family isn't transactional. Money is, I said. And this is money. You'll regret this, she said, her voice going small and sharp. I already regret the last 5 temporary emergencies, I told her. And we sat in the quiet for a beat. Then she said, fine, don't bring a thing. Like it was a punishment, and hung up. I thought I'd feel sick. Instead, I felt like I'd been holding a heavy bag by the handles for years and finally put it down. A week before Thanksgiving, I stopped by my parents' house again. I wanted to look my mother in the face, to check my own resolve. I pulled into the driveway. The curtains were open. I could see my mom at the table with her binder of lists, Ava beside her, both heads bent over paper. I lifted and pushed the sticky door. I heard their voices before they saw me. I have a plan, Ava said, the same tone as before. After dinner, he pays for my kids, like she was explaining a seating chart. I'll do the toast about gratitude. I'll talk about community, then I'll slide the invoice over. He won't embarrass me in front of the boys. My mom nodded. There are no other kids in this family, she said again. He'll do the right thing when he sees their faces. I stepped into the frame. Hi. They both flinched. My mom covered the paper with her hand like a teenager hiding a quiz. Ryan. Oh, we didn't hear you. Sticky door, I said. Ava recovered instantly. Great timing. Look, about Thursday. No, I cut her off. We're not doing that. She laughed brightly. Doing what? The performance? The toast? The invoice? I'm not paying, I stated clearly. Not now. Not after dessert. Not later. You really want to do this here? She asked, lowering her voice like I was the one making a scene. I want to do this once, I said. My mom's mouth tightened. You're being cruel. I'm being clear, I replied. Clarity sounds cruel when you're used to getting your way. Ava pushed the invoice toward me anyway. Just look. I've looked, I said. It says $12,800. That's not my bill. Everyone benefits when my kids succeed, she insisted. That's how families grow wealth. I benefit when my savings exist, I countered. I benefit when my car gets new tires before the tread is smooth. I benefit when I can handle my own dental work. I'm not setting myself on fire to keep you warm. You love those boys, my mom said, a statement, not a question. I do, I affirmed. I love them enough not to tie their joy to my credit limit. Ava just stared. You've changed. I've noticed, I said. I turned to leave because the conversation was a loop, and I'd reached the start again. On the porch, my phone buzzed. It was the catering company. Hi. We just need the card on file to run the deposit for Thursday. I could see my mother's silhouetted head in the window. I pictured her beaming when the trays arrived, bragging about light catering. I felt the bag handles in my hands again, the weight of years. I took a breath. I won't be placing that order, I told the woman. Please take my name off the account. If someone else wants to handle it, they'll call you. The woman said okay, in a practiced, unemotional way. I thanked her. I hung up. Then I made a different call. I texted my friend Caro, who runs a tiny cafe that does holiday boxes. Any chance you have 2 small Thanksgiving boxes left? She did. I paid for one for me and one for Nate, because I knew he'd end up eating cereal if my mom went nuclear. Pick up November 23rd at 1 p.m., she texted back. Done. I also drove to the store and bought a frozen pumpkin pie, because an empty plate on a quiet table can feel like a small failure. I put the pie in my freezer and stuck a note on it. November 23rd. On November 23rd, at 11:15 a.m., my phone exploded. Ava, where are you? Mom, ETA. Dad, your mother is nervous. The group chat. Don't be late. I took a photo of the sky, empty and sharp, and then typed back to Ava. Don't wait for me. And the catering. She sent a wall of text. WAT. Are you kidding? Mom thinks you're picking it up. They're already here. People are coming. You're going to humiliate us. I wrote. I told you I wasn't paying. Enjoy your plan. I changed mine. Then I turned my phone face down and went to pick up the cafe boxes. I brought one to Nate's apartment. He opened the door in socks, sheer relief washing over his face. I love you forever, he said, grabbing the box. Mom said there's drama. I shrugged. There's clarity. He nodded like he'd been waiting for that exact word. I went home, warmed my food, cut the pie, and ate at my little table with the bad plant that keeps deciding to live. Anyway, I watched a movie I've seen 10 times. It felt like a day that happened inside my life, not a performance I was drafted into. The calls kept coming. My mom. How could you? My dad. You put us in a terrible position. Ava, you're dead to me. Then another. Okay, not dead, but wow. Then, you ruined Thanksgiving. Then, the boys are crying. They cry when there are no marshmallows. I know how this works. I waited until 7 p.m. Then I called my mom back. Did people eat? I asked. Yes, she said, her voice tight. We ordered pizzas. Good, I said. Happy Thanksgiving. You should apologize, she demanded. For what? For abandoning your family, she accused. I didn't abandon anyone, I said. I refused to finance a trap. There's a difference. You did it for attention, she said. I did it to stop bleeding money, I corrected her. You think you're better than us, she spat. I think I'm separate from you, I said. That's new. I like it. She hung up. Ava texted at 9 p.m. We need to talk tomorrow, noon. I replied, no, next week if you want. Not about money. She sent back, you're unbelievable. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and fell asleep hearing nothing but my own radiator. The fallout week looked like this. Monday, my aunt called to say I broke my mother's heart. I said it'll heal. Tuesday, Eric left a voicemail explaining their cash flow like I was a bank manager. I deleted it. Wednesday, my grandma texted a heart and proud of you for standing strong. I cried in my car for 2 minutes outside the hardware store. Thursday, Nate sent a photo of an empty plate with thank you written in gravy. I laughed too hard at that. Friday, my mom posted a Facebook status about kids these days and losing values. I resisted the urge to comment. Values are not a payment plan. A week later, Ava sent a shorter invoice. Tuition portion only, $1,800. I replied with a link to a scholarship program at the school and a budget template. She wrote, don't treat me like one of your clients. I wrote, okay, and didn't. 2 weeks later, my mom tried a new tactic. Can you at least cover Christmas dinner? I said, I'll bring 2 sides. She said, you don't love me. I said, I love you enough to stop lying by paying. Silence. Then, we'll see. 3 weeks later, Ava called from her car. I could hear turn signals clicking. I hate you, she said. I just listened. Then she said, softer. No, I don't. I hate that this is hard. Me too, I admitted. The boys asked if Uncle Ryan is mad at them, she confessed. Tell them I love them. I said, I just can't be the money guy anymore. She said, Eric says you're being dramatic. I said, maybe it's working. We ended the call with nothing solved and no invoice sent. That felt like a win. It's quieter now. Not silent. Just less of that buzzing noise where I can't hear my own thoughts. I'm learning that peace is not everyone being happy with me. Peace is me not being furious at myself. My mom still says, there are no other kids in this family. I say, there are, and I am one of them. My dad still tries to float logistics. Okay, what if we split in thirds? I say, I'm not splitting your choices. Nate still borrows $40 sometimes. I still give it to him if I can. He pays me back lately. He sends a screenshot of the transfer with a thumbs up emoji, like we're both proving something. Ava has mostly stopped sending invoices. She sends questions instead. Do you know a cheaper camp? Is there a used by group for gadgets? How do you set up autopay? I help when I have bandwidth. I say no when I don't. She tries to guilt me once a month. I let it pass. She sends a photo of the boys at the park sometimes. I heart it. I send a sticker book. Not a laptop. A sticker book. I put new tires on my car. The hum on the highway is different, steady, safe. I booked a dentist appointment and told the hygienist I want to fix the crown in March. I set up a little automatic transfer to a folder named Someday. It tucks away $100 a month. It's not impressive. It's mine. For Christmas, I brought mac and cheese and roasted carrots. My mom tried the line again. You don't love me. When I wouldn't pay for light catering. I said, I love you. I'm not paying. She squinted at me, then hugged me like she was angry and affectionate at the same time. That's my mother. I accept the hug, not the invoice. If you're watching this because someone in your family slid you a bill with a smile, or because you overheard them planning your generosity like a weather event that always happens, here's what I learned the hard way. Write down your lines. Actual sentences. I can't do that. That's not my bill. I'm ending a pattern. I love you. No. Say them out loud in your kitchen until they stop shaking. Expect people to call you cruel when you get clear. They're not used to separate you. Expect the texts, the missed calls, the long posts about family values. Expect the quiet after you hold your line. That quiet is weird. And honestly, it's beautiful. I didn't fix my family. I changed my part. I stopped funding disrespect. I stopped treating my wallet like a fire extinguisher for bad planning. I stopped confusing helpful with available. I started being a person with my own budget and my own holidays. On November 23rd, when Ava texted, "Where are you?" I laughed and told her not to wait for me and the catering. That was the first holiday with my new rule. It wasn't a triumph. It was a table with 2 place settings and a pie and a man eating slowly and feeling something new. Pure relief. My name is Ryan. I'm 34, middle kid, bookkeeper, and now, a person with boundaries. There are, in fact, other kids in this family. One of them is me, and I'm finally acting like it.